tall, gangly thing?
Hello, everybody, and welcome to High Roll Radio, episode number 16. My name is Nick Gangly DePasquale. I am your host, and today I am joined by two very special guests. First up, I've got my constant co-host, SPICYAPPIES. Sully, how you doing?
Good. His name's actually Nick SPICYAPPIES DePasquale. I've told you that a few times on the show, but that's okay. You can get my name wrong. It's fine. I'm doing well. Enjoying life, enjoying TFT, doing the do. You know how it go.
Today is a very special episode because we are joined by the man, the myth, the legend. It's the man who beat me, the only person to ever beat me in tiebreakers in set 2, week 8 of Fight Night. It's Naturesbf. Natures, how you doing?
Doing great. That is my biggest accomplishment, not just in TFT, but in life. Gangly likes to bring it up often, and I do appreciate that because I need to be reminded constantly of when I beat you in Fight Night Rising in 2021 on April 13th. I think it was in 2020. I don't think it was in April, but don't worry about that. I'm doing great. Happy to be here.
Yep, you should know that you're a dirty high roller, and I deserve second, but you know what? It happens. I'm not mad about it. Anyway, this is High Roll Radio. This is a live TFT call-in show. So if you're watching on Twitch right now, the best news is that you get to be a part of the show with us. All you have to do if you want to get on this show is use the command !Discord in chat. You'll see a Discord link pop up. That's going to go straight to my personal Discord. Once you get there, on the left-hand side, go into the Submit Takes channel and write out your hot take, your discussion point, your question, whatever it is that you want to talk about today. Throw it in there, and then depending on if we have a lot or only a few, we'll either bring you in towards the end of the show or during a topic if we're bringing it up ourselves. So if you got something you want to talk about, go ahead and write that in now. I'll give you another reminder as we get more into the show. I know we're streaming right now at a different time than normal. Appies, unfortunately, was not able to do the normal time, but we were able to work around our schedules, and we got it done. So I'm going to expect fewer people than normal because it is kind of a weird time. But it doesn't matter because we've got a lot to talk about with just the three of us. So even if we don't have any calls, we've got lots of things to say. So before we talk TFT, something we like to do is just talk about what we've been doing outside the game, what you've been reading, what you've been watching, what you've been playing, whatever it is. Sully, you want to go first?
I mean, I'm down for you to go first because you mentioned reading, and you've been reading some pretty good stuff lately.
I have. Yeah? That is true, yes. I finished my first Brandon Sanderson series. I've just finished the Reckoners series. So that was... Oh, well, I say I finished it. It's technically 4 books. Did you know that, Sully, that there's a 4th one?
Mitosis, right? It's like a little novella.
No.
I don't know what this series is.
Okay. So you know Brandon Sanderson, the author? Do you know him?
Yeah.
He's a really popular like fantasy. He dabbles in like sci-fi and stuff, which I guess is what Reckoners is. But he's just a great author.
He wasn't he finished to... He was selected to finish like the Wheel of Time series, right? That's him?
Yes. Yeah, he finished the last couple books for Wheel of Time.
So he's just like a fantasy author who writes a ridiculous amount of content. Like he has so many books. I have typically read more sci-fi stuff, so this was like his sci-fi series that someone recommended to me.
There's actually another one too. Did I tell you about that?
No, what's the other one?
It's like Top Gun in space. It's
that's cool.
I have it on audio. You can listen to it on there. So it's like Star something. If you just look up Brandon Sanderson books, it's like pretty obvious which one is Top Gun in space.
I wish I could do audiobooks. I cannot pay attention to audiobooks. I will lose track. I will not hear anything. I will not hear a single word.
But here's the thing. So the nice thing about doing the Reckoner series is and I don't know if all of his books are like this, Sully, but this one is very clearly like a young adult novel. Like the language is very simple. It's easy to understand. And he repeats the same concepts and like ideas over and over again. So in case you missed it like the first 3 times, you're going to hear it later on in the book anyway.
I don't think you understand. I will play TFT and I'll have music going, and when the music stops, like the playlist runs out, it will take me an hour to realize the music has stopped. That is how much I mean that I cannot pay attention to what I'm listening to and I'm doing anything else.
Well, so I guess you don't commute into the office all that often too, right? And
no, I used to, but I don't.
Yeah. So that's how I listen normally. Like if I'm like doing the dishes, I'm doing stuff around the house, or if I'm like commuting. Yeah. It makes me excited to do chores. Like it really does.
Right? It makes life so much better to have audiobooks on the back burner. It's so much better.
Yeah.
I'm excited to do the dishes tonight because I'm just gonna go listen to my book while I'm doing them.
So wait, well now segue to you. So what are you reading or playing or doing outside of TFT?
Honestly, not much right now. I've been kind of all TFT for a while, just because it was Box Boot Camp and the Noxus Cup qualifier and the Noxus Cup and the second weekend of Noxus Cup. So it's been a lot of TFT, man. It's been a lot of TFT. I'm enjoying the patch right now a lot though, so I can't really complain. I'm having a good time. So it's been a lot of TFT, but it's been fun TFT, which is good.
All right, Nature's. What about you?
I'm kind of similar. This is my busy season for sure, considering how many events we have this month. But I have like 2 weekly things that I do that are games that are not TFT. One of them is with Wisdom people and people that are friends of Wisdom people. We meet up and play Red 10. If you ever played that, it's a card game that Hafu and Dog taught me a long time ago.
Played it at Summit, right?
They played at Summit.
Yeah.
It's because that group is obsessed with it. Anyway, so we play that every single week. And then we've been doing that for 6 months now, I think. And then we'll also I play Baldur's Gate with some friends from Phoenix every week, which is great.
Nice.
That game is lit.
Oh, nice. It is
It
fun.
is so fun.
It's like
I'm
D&D,
so
right?
excited
Isn't
every
that what
week.
it is? It's like D&D,
Yeah.
but a computer game.
We
Exactly.
are we didn't plan this going in, but it did not take long at all for us to become very obviously a chaotic evil run. Like so quick. Like the thing is the dialogue options are way too funny not to be chaotic evil. They're so funny, man. Oh god, I love it.
Wait, so this is a game that you can easily play with other people? Like
Yeah, you play sorry.
No, it's okay. I was just gonna say, is it one of those games that where like if you're playing co-op you can't go on until you're all playing together, or is it like does it break apart? How does that
So you want to if you're doing a campaign with a group, you want to stay with that group. You don't want to play apart. You can play multiple campaigns at once. I'm not
see.
really interested in doing that, but you could do that. But no, we need to all play together. That way you don't miss any parts of the story, anything like that.
Okay.
I think the best way to describe Baldur's Gate to me is that it feels almost more like D&D than it feels like a video game, which is like insane.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, it's just smooth. It's smooth. Everything's. It's like very, very. It's a very good experience. So yeah, I mean, we could play this at some point. Like, you wanna saddle up.
Is it a free to play? I have not bought a video
No.
game in like a
It's
very
AAA.
long time. Oh
Yeah,
man.
it's like $60.
Maybe one day. Maybe one day. Dude, playing all these free to play games like League, TFT, like I pretty much every
Hashtag
game.
ad.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I have not paid for a video game in a very long time, and I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I've made like a resolution for myself to learn to play games for fun and not just for like competition.
I feel that, man.
Because
I
that's just
feel
like
that
not
on such
something.
a-
Like I got into gaming. Well, I mean, I've played games all my life, but like the reason I got into esports was because I've always been competitive, but I suck at sports, and like I couldn't really find an outlet. So for me, it's just like my relationship with gaming has always been built upon my ability to perform in a game. So I don't know. Maybe one day I'll try out Baldur's Gate. It would
Ping-pong
probably
the
be
animation moment.
what?
Was it
What?
ping pong the animation moment?
Oh yeah, seriously. Very, very true.
Born
All
and
right.
raised on competition.
Anyway, we're about 10 minutes in. Nice little intro. Let's move on to some TFT chat. Also, thank you to everyone who is watching. Like I said earlier, I know this is a weird time, so I appreciate everyone who's still...
Bad.
No. You've got nothing to apologize for. But thanks for everyone who is stopping by. Love having you all here. And, thank you to all you podcast listeners as well, because we love you too. Now, we're going to start this show a little bit differently. I was quite honestly inspired by the fact that Don't Talk If You Don't Know always has like a little news section up front just to like talk about things that are happening in TFT. So I did write out a couple quick little things to let our listeners know about. The first of which is something that was announced last night by Disguised Toast. It's the DSG trials coming October 16th and 17th. Obviously, Natures, I'm assuming you knew about this before last night. Anything you want to say about it?
Time. I'll give a quick rundown of it. So pretty much DSG trials. Yeah, we've been talking to them for a while about this. Disguised wants to sign a player for the TFT Vegas Open. That's the whole point of the event. So there's going to be a snapshot. It is going to be Wednesday night, Thursday morning, so 12:01 a.m. Thursday morning, next week on the 12th. And the top 32 players that are on the snapshot that are not signed to a team currently, sorry, Appies, are going to...
Oh, no.
Aren't you signed to a team?
I am, yeah. I didn't realize I couldn't play because of that. Oh, no.
So sad.
Anyway, that are not signed to a team are going to be competing for a prize pool in Intel PC. There's also some other Intel stuff being given out. It's sponsored by Intel. And then most importantly, a competitor pass alongside like travel accommodations, alongside, I mean, you're signed to DSG, so whatever they do for you there, like I'm sure they're gonna, you're gonna be repping DSG. And then of course, all the different travel accommodations. So you'll be going there for free representing DSG, which is sweet. I have, because we announced it on the Discord right after they announced it on Twitter, on the Giant Slayer Discord. I have gotten more DMs about this in a 24-hour span than I think in any other event ever. The amount of I'm not the 15 minutes after posted on the Discord, and my phone is just not, and I'm around people. It was actually when we were doing our Red 10 stuff. I'm just around people. My phone is just non-stop getting DMs. I'm like, well, yeah, people are really excited about this.
Right. I was definitely one of those DMs as well. Sorry.
It's okay. And so, a couple things that I'm really excited about with this. Number one, by a large margin, I think that this is going to be I don't think it'll be quite there, but I think it will be similar to mid-set finale in terms of the level of players and how prepared they are. It's going to probably be the third strongest North American tournament of the set, which is really cool in itself. And building on that, all right. I actually can announce this here. I guess I can leave an announcement.
Whoa!
Oh my god! Obviously I'm allowed to say it. I was told I can tell players now, today, and we haven't told anyone yet. So I'm the only anyway. Regional finals is going to be on patch 19.20, not 19.21. To be clear, that is the patch that DSG Trials is going to be played on. That is the patch that NALCQ is going to be played on. That's the patch that Rising Legends Finals is going to be played on. Whew. So, and the reason for this is that the patch for regional finals coming out 2 days before regional finals. So that's the whole reason. You'll have time to prepare on it. But I think that adds a lot to this because everyone's going to be preparing for regionals at the same time as DSG Trials. This event is going to be stacked because of that. I'm so excited for it. I think it's going to be sick. And everyone really wants to win.
Yeah, man, me too.
Oh, no. Appy's writing boys is a message right now.
I think you're one of 6. I think there's 6. There's the 3 Liquid players, right? There's Saint, there's Karm, there's Replay. Then there's Doju on Cloud9. Then there's you, and then there's Socks.
Okay.
I think that's
does it
6.
really count, though? Does it really count? I'm about to just start Venmoing all the top 32 players so no one can get in. And then I'm getting in. I want this. Also, you know what?
I just took a weekend off, and I just...
What if he gets suspended? Suspended from his team. Anyway, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Something that I think is actually really cool about this, Dylan. So Intel sponsoring this event.
Yeah.
I maybe I'm just not able to think of it. I can't think off the top of my head though of another event that's had a title sponsor in TFT in recent memory. Has there ever been one?
Recent memory, no. Well, so first of all, championships have. The set championships have.
Really?
Yeah, they have. But For Wisdom side, the event that really like truly was like it felt like a title sponsor was GSS, the 2v2 GSS. That one was like very, very Ball Street.
Oh,
It
that's
was
right.
very Ball Street.
That was
But
the set 5.5 GSS.
Yes, correct. But yes, this is one of not many.
That sounds like a huge win, right? I mean, that's got to be a huge win. And obviously, I know you can't speak to like whether that's a Wisdom thing or a Toast thing. I'm sure.
I have no involvement with that at all.
Oh.
No, not at all.
Okay, I see. Wait, you mean you have no involvement as in you can talk about it, or no involvement like you actually just don't
Like,
know?
Wisdom isn't.
Both of those things are true. I can't talk about because I don't have much to talk about. Like
Okay,
the
sure.
information that I know is the information that is public.
Okay.
All right, wink, wink.
Either way, that's a really cool win to have a title sponsor in a TFT event, especially in the year that so many people were saying was like the esports winter, right? To now have TFTs like this, I think that people may not realize how big of a deal that actually is. Like if Intel is actually able to capture on something that goes on in this event, and that does lead to like future title sponsors, that not only does a lot for like whether it is a Wisdom side being able to sell against the events that they're hosting, Riot being able to engage future sponsors to maybe, put out more events like this in the future, or even this is good news for like third-party organizations who are able to point to this and say like, hey, this is what we've done. You can do a small sponsorship here, or we can build this up into something even bigger, and you can see what they've done like with the DSG trials. Like that's a really, really cool engagement that you guys are doing. Really, really excited to see that all play out. Appies, was there anything else you wanted to say about that before we move on?
Nope. Definitely just had my hopes and dreams shattered. No, I mean it's cool. Even if I can't play it, it's gonna be
It's the
exciting.
worst part. Because the thing is, you were actually talking about it before the thing, and it just didn't occur to me that you were talking about playing. Like that foot didn't swap until I was like, oh yeah, the people that can't play and like, oh yeah, Appies is part of. Like, it didn't occur to me earlier.
That's okay, because OPS brought Jimray and Boises and I together, and that's a beautiful thing. So I'm okay with it. I'd rather have my relationship with Jimray and Boises that I have now than win a bunch of money and go to Vegas for it.
That's right.
That'd be seriously, yeah.
Well,
I'm cool with it. That's
as it stands, Appies, you are currently expected to go to Vegas, correct?
yes, yeah, because Bryce is Bryce and the Don't Have to Know the podcast is sponsoring me to go to Vegas, so I will be there competing.
That's right.
Which they never made like an announcement or anything, but that's how I'm going. So big shout out to Bryce. If anyone ever has a moment to say, hey Bryce, thank you for sending Appies to Vegas, because we're big Appies fans. We love TFT and we love seeing Appies at Vegas, because man, why wouldn't I? And then the sentence drags on too long and you keep talking, you can't breathe, but you have to breathe.
Oh my God, breathe, breathe. All right. Anyway, we'll run through the other news going on. There's a little bit less to talk about because it'll come up more naturally. But we have the Noxus Cup weekend number 2 coming up this weekend, and one of the crazy things is how stacked October is, because we have Noxus Cup this weekend, and then the weekend after is LCQ, and then I believe there's a 1-week break. And then regional finals is the week after that. That's correct, Natures?
Correct, and you're just forgetting that the day after LCQ is also DSG.
Right. 4 very important events all happening in October. It really is like the month of TFT. And then Worlds is the first weekend in November, I think. So it is.
Really?
Yeah,
Wait,
it is a
close?
fast cycle.
Here's the thing. I don't think people are really realizing this. PvE for next set's out in 5 weeks.
What the heck?
This set
5
just
weeks till set
started.
11 PvE comes out.
Set
I don't
10.
think people are.
That's,
Yeah, set 10. Yeah, not set 11. That would be wild.
Oh, and the 1-week break is EMEA finals.
Yeah,
That's
so if you're
so
a esports
crazy.
fan,
Yeah, it's funny to think this is like the month of TFT, because I feel like the last like 2 months have been the months of TFT. Like, there's been so much TFT lately.
Well, especially
Holy
with
crap.
Box too, because like
Event after event. Yeah, exactly.
you mentioned it before that like Emma, we've talked about it on the podcast. With Box, it's really like the most intense time of TFT because it's around the clock. Like there is literally always somebody streaming their climb and box challenge. So yeah, between that, TC4 Part 2, and all the events in October, it's been quite the time for TFT events.
And the unannounced TC5, which is in early November.
Nope.
Told me.
Yeah,
he told me that. It's like during PBE, I think, actually.
That's right. Yeah. Yep. Everybody
Joey's
gets
actually the MC for the event.
Yes, that's right. My newly minted 3-year-old son. Happy birthday, Joey.
And BTS, not New Jeans, but BTS is doing a song for it.
Yep. Well, they're my cousins.
Yeah.
So I just invited them.
Zane's gonna get up and just belt it.
I'm down.
All right. Well, anyway, it was the perfect segue until I got derailed into the first thing we want to talk about today, which is that TC4 took place last weekend. And no, wait, was it last weekend?
2 weekends.
2 weekends ago, and then last week.
Yes.
And man, what a roller coaster it was.
Yes.
I imagine that most people who are listening to this podcast know about everything that happened with TC4, but let's assume that some people didn't get to follow the magic of what happened at that event, because it was certainly something.
I won.
Yes, this is actually.
If you didn't follow the event, I won. Yep.
We have 3 very interesting point of views on the event, actually. Why doesn't someone else go first? Because
Appies.
Mine is the least positive.
You know what it was a my experience was that I was playing TFT in a patch I didn't like, and everyone meeting out, like talking to everyone in person, meeting new people, seeing Gangly Natures in person, like it made the event really enjoyable. It made my experience with TFT for that week very, very enjoyable. So for me, TC4 was like the most positive part of set 9.5 to date. No, set 9.5 been up for not that long, but it was very fun. It was very fun. It made TFT bearable in a time where I didn't enjoy TFT that much, and I was just clicking Caitlyn and clicking Cho'Gath 8 times in the game, 9 times in the game even. And yeah, I enjoyed it a lot, even if there were some issues that maybe Natures can elaborate on.
Okay. So I'll talk about my perspective on the event, like tournament itself. So I had a situation. I didn't plan on playing 9.5 at all. I didn't plan on playing the set. The only reason I played the set at all was TC4. I didn't want to go into the event not play, like, I don't want to play the event not playing any games on the set. So I learned the set to an extent, but I played like 1/10 the amount of games I played in 9.0. In fact, if you want to match history, the last game I played was on TC4. Which this game's going to talk about that much, but okay. My games in TC4 were terrible. I was not good at the game, first of all. I was very bad at the game for TC4. Very bad. But there's several parts to this, okay? First of all, the first game, I played bad and rolled and went 8th, okay? The second game is where we started having problems, which I will go into in a second. I was half focused on the game, half focused on the problems, and then like 90% playing poorly and went 7th. The third game,
the best part.
The third game, keep in mind, I'm not doing well, but the third game, who knows how I'm gonna do. I'm not playing these games well, but whatever. We're going into the third game. It is 4-1. It is time for my roll down. I'm playing Fiora, Kaisa, so the 4-1 roll down is the most important part of the game. All right, 4-1 happens. My computer crashes.
Which was very out of character because the land center was such a nice, well-working play.
Everything worked perfectly.
My computer crashes, and by the time the computer's back on, I'm dead.
All right, now let me fill in the gaps a little bit with, I guess, for anyone who actually does not know anything that happened at TC4. Let me explain what happened.
I can't end on that. I can't end on that.
Okay,
I have to say, all of that doesn't really matter. That's not the reason that I wanted to practice, so I at least was like somewhat competent, even though I wasn't at the game during TC4. But mostly the reason I went was to hang out with people and meet people. That's the reason I went. And so me going 8-7-8, it doesn't really bother me at all. I went there to just go hang out and have fun. The most fun part I had of the event was when we were playing Pico Party. and I won that, so that I won the tournament. But so the tournament was a blast for me. All right, Gangly, I couldn't end on only that.
Okay, so the quick version of what happened was we get to the venue, we get everybody in, we start loading players in, they start logging in. We notice that as the latter half of players are logging in, people are getting logged out. And so we delay the tournament about an hour to try and get everyone in. And essentially we didn't actually find out the problem, but what was happening was we could not get all 56 players logged into TFT and remaining in the client at the same time. And so after game 1, everybody got logged out slowly. It was like a few players here and there, blah, blah, blah. And essentially, we could not get enough lobbies started to run the tournament. After, I think, 7 hours or 6 hours of tournament, we had gotten through 3 games, and a lot of that was scuffed. We had people playing on mobile. We had people playing on my laptop, on other TO's laptops, on Dylan's computer just shut down, and we were just like, well, we don't have time to remake it because we don't know if we can do anything else about it. It was horrible. Unfortunately, it seemed to be an issue with the venue that we could not fix. They tried their best to be accommodating, but unfortunately, it was just an issue at the venue that nobody had seen coming. None of us were prepared to deal with it.
Except for them, but they weren't prepared to deal with it.
Well, they did see it coming, actually. That's another story that I'm not going to put them on blast. But unfortunately, they just could not fix it. And so we had to stop the tournament after 3 games and then finish the rest remotely. Quite honestly, it was probably the most stressed out I've ever felt in a 6-hour period in my entire life.
You didn't show it.
You guys did great dealing with it, too. Yeah. You guys are troopers. Seriously.
I appreciate it. I mean, here's the thing. I was obviously hugely embarrassed, right? It sucks. That's the reality. It sucks to have people from all over the country, from Canada, from North America representation, come out to this event that you're promoting, saying hey, this is going to be really cool. We do this. We love it. And then you can't run the event. What I will say is that the players and all the spectators, everyone there still made the event really, really fun. I mean, you two talked about it before, but I didn't have anybody coming to me pissed off or upset or demanding their money back or whatever, or everyone I had people still going out of their way to say hey, I had a lot of fun today. I'm going to be back for TC5. Just let me know, blah, blah, blah. It was awesome. And I think the most iconic part of the event was that at the very end, when we made the announcement that we were ending the tournament, we had everybody sign this TC4 merch shirt, this TC4 shirt. And then we had a huge group of people of maybe 25 or 30 people, something around there, go to this diner. Dylan was at the back table, drinking red wine or something, or sangria. Yeah. Just an awesome time. We had a ton of people go out and just make friends and get to know each other, meet people that you've talked to online. And so we didn't get to finish the tournament on LAN, and it was embarrassing and it sucked, but everybody had an awesome time. And so there's still a lot of success to hold on to. So I'm thankful for the fact that we have such an awesome community that people are able to make the most of a situation like that. And I do want to assure people that we are taking proper precautions to make sure this never happens again. We're switching venues. We're going to be doing proper stress tests on all the PCs at the venue beforehand, which they should obviously have already done because it's a LAN center. But we're going to make sure this never happens again. The TC5 will be even better. Something that did come out of TC4 that I do want to talk about, though, is that we had the opportunity to shoot a bunch of content pieces, which is something that we've pretty much never been able to do in person in TFT. I'm trying to remember. At regionals for set 7,
I know one.
You had
the Soju Land, the Soju documentary.
The Soju documentary.
The Soju Land.
Well,
Soju Land.
Set 7 regionals, Wisdom produced content with the casters, but obviously could not produce content on site with the players. So it's a little bit different experience. But the first episode of the 3-part series we recorded is now out on the Tactician's Crown YouTube, actually featuring SPICYAPPIES, where we had professional players reacting to their most iconic moments, with Sully talking about his breakout tournament at set 6 Challenger Series, and then his win at the Innovation Cup.
Wait, this one. Wait, I did it too.
Sully, do you want to talk about, I don't know, like that was probably, I imagine that was your first time recording a content piece in person, right?
Yeah, actually. Well, I guess like because Summit stuff doesn't really count as like skits. It wasn't like because we did like the
That's true.
lab ski where like Beck was put on the thing and that was fun. But no, that was the first time like getting interviewed or anything in person. That was really fun. I mean, I'm glad it was you doing it because it made it very comfortable. You know, if it was like Nature's doing it, I would have been totally shell shocked.
I get that. No, I get
Right.
that.
But starstruck. No, it was really cool. I think the
Did
games
you
you
say
picked for it
shell
were really-
shocked? Is that the
I
word you
did.
used?
Again, it was a.
Well,
it was not the
I'd be
word.
like a drill sergeant is the thing.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Should be frozen. Yeah, it was a great time. The games you picked were really fun to watch. Like probably two of my favorite games I've ever played. Which I mean, I think like the weird thing for me is that a lot of my favorite games just happen in set 6, and you picked like two of the best games I've played as well just from set 6. So it was great to like look back at the set as well and like see how TFT's changed, how I've changed. It was cool. It was great. I mean, if anyone has any interest in like just I didn't really like any part of TFT really, like how players feel about their old clips, because like you replay and Pokemon also have one coming out, so there's like a lot of variants there. They're variants. I'm a TFT player. A lot of variety there, not variants. You will not randomly your YouTube client will not just like shut off randomly. Yeah, there's just a lot of like cool content, right? It's like people goofing out talking about TFT, looking back on the times of yore, some of the biggest moments in TFT, like replay in Worlds, obviously.
Yep.
Might be
Or
the World
Pokegam.
Champion, maybe.
Making Assassin Callista.
Yeah. There's a lot of lore, and I think it's like a great thing for preserving the history of TFT and preserving like the feel of the community in TFT. So it's just awesome. If you want to watch mine, go watch one of theirs, because it's great once they're out. But
watch Appies.
Yeah, definitely check that out. If you just look up Tactician's Crown TFT on YouTube, you should find it. It's also called like SPICYAPPIES reacts to his best moment or something like that. I don't know exactly. You'll find it. It's somewhere there. Dylan, I don't know, did I ever tell you that I did find the Pocky clip? Did I explain to you how I found it?
Can I guess?
Yeah.
No, you didn't tell me, but can I guess? My guess is you went to the actual clips page of
No. Okay, so just quick preface for everyone. So I did an episode with Appies, did an episode with Free Replay, did an episode with Pocky, and for Pokegam, I really wanted that moment in Set 5 regional finals where Pokegam on day 1 slams an Assassin Spatula on Callista and then goes 8th. And everyone talked about it. It was kind of funny. It was like, who this crazy guy does these big old wacky things. But the VOD didn't exist on YouTube anymore. The reason I found it was because for that very short stint in Set 5.5, I made highlights of tournaments. And so during that event, I would just like write down timestamps and stuff, and then I made I don't even know, probably like a 20-minute recap for day 1 of just highlights from the event, and I happened to have that clip on there. So yeah, kind of worked out because I could not find it anywhere else.
You own it.
That's right. I own
right.
the broadcast.
Your property.
It's like the mid-set finale day 2 broadcast.
Basically.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, the mid-set finale day 2 broadcast, which for whatever reason is on our Hyrule Radio podcast or playlist on YouTube. All right. Anyway, we talked a lot about TC4. I do just want to real quick give a shout out to all the players who attended, all the spectators who came in person, everyone who watched the broadcast, and obviously I also want to give a shout out to Riot who supported us on this event. It was not the event we were expecting it to be, but honestly, Riot was still really happy with what we were able to produce, which was awesome, and I really appreciate their support, and I hope we can continue that relationship going into TC5. Now, let's talk about 9.5 Noxus Cup coming up this weekend. There's a lot to talk about with Noxus Cup. Appies, you're playing. Nature's, obviously, you're going to be... What is? Are you technically TO? What is your title weekend of?
Saying TO is fine. But my job is very varied. I would just say event manager.
Sure.
So managing the event.
Okay, well, there's a few things to mention, and I don't know if any of you have like a preference in terms of the order. The thing that stood out to me first, though, is I wanted to talk about the fact that going into the second weekend of the event, out of the 64 competitors, and I hope this number is right, Nature's, you might know better than me, but I wrote down that 29 of them have not played in the second weekend of a set 9 tournament.
I can't fact check you on that. I'm doing that work like tonight, a little late tonight. So
You know
Even
what's
if it's
crazy?
not that exact number, it's somewhere around there, and it's a strange,
right.
it's a huge mix of players like Asa, Ramblin, Ripple Overdrive, who just either were not playing or just did not make it to second weekend up to this point in time, alongside a lot of up and coming talent. Oh, Appies, you're also one of those. Oh no, you're not. Never mind. What am I saying? You're already in second weekend before, but this has to be. Obviously, none of us are able to fact check this right now, but this has to be at least up there in terms of the amount of diversity we're getting with like new blood, old blood of one within one set. This is a lot of variety.
Are getting so good at TFT. Also, this is not a self plug for my coaching, but a huge shout out to learning TFT. He's been one of my students for the last maybe like 6 months, and he is in weekend 2.
Wow.
that
yeah.
is such
Yeah, we
an
can
apt
do.
name.
Yeah,
What you're saying.
he's been absolutely beasting out. We prep for the tournament together a bit because we do coaches every week, and I'm like, yeah, it's really cool to see him do so well. I'm very happy for him because he puts in a ton of effort. So shout out to Learn TFT. He's a beast. Yeah, he's learning how to play TFT very well, very very well, better than most people.
I also wrote out a few kind of like quick highlights from the first weekend of the event. Obviously, so Frodan won day 1, was the point leader after day 1, and then Cottontail was the point leader day 2, which I thought was really interesting because I feel like Cottontail has to be one of the players who has to be up there in terms of players who have either won or been like or won a single day of a tournament. Because he's actually won a lot. Like he has to have at least 3 or 4 that just come to mind. Like I know he won something in set 4. He won Defender Cup in set 8. Obviously point leader after day 2. Cottontail is a player that I think is not often talked about as like a top player. Yeah.
He didn't just win, like, by the way. I think it's important to note, like, he tied for the best average placement on a day in any competitive TFT history.
Like 1-2,
Right.
1-2, 1-1 or something.
Along with Robin and, of course, the GOAT in NA, Showtime.
And one more. Do you know who the other player is? Obviously not Rising.
TFT at Fight Night
Bobster for winning
Wait.
TC4 with 44 points.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah,
I was so confused. I was like,
No.
really? Okay.
No, yeah, that was a bait. But there's
I didn't. Yes. Yeah.
on-
I didn't mean the official events, obviously, for anyone who's confused, but yes.
So on top of Frodan, Cottontail doing well, Ramblin is making his return to weekend 2.
Yes.
And I was thinking about this today, and I want to say, it's been a while since Ramblin has performed as a top player, right? It's been a little bit. He was in the second weekend of Mecha Cup in set 8, but even then, I remember thinking like, oh, it feels like it's been a while since we've really seen Ramblin doing well in tournament. And it's interesting because a year and a half ago, he was considered by many to be the best player in North America. Set 7, obviously, he really did not like that set. But I think a part of it is also that, like, quite frankly, Ramblin kind of fell off from being the top player on the pedestal that he lived on. And now it's kind of refreshing to see him, like, I don't know, struggling for set 9 and making it back in 9.5 to actually like advancing to weekend 2. And it would be awesome to see him make a deep run.
One thing about Ramblin to consider for this is so I had to do my power rankings a couple days ago, and I included Ramblin on it, and he once again barely didn't make it. He missed the snapshot barely for week 2. So he is the person. The tiebreaker thing is what's talked about with Ramblin or not. It's actually not the case. Ramblin hasn't actually lost like a ton of tiebreakers. What he's lost are important tiebreakers, and he's lost a lot of like barely like 1 point away and this kind of thing. No, Ramblin's lost like 2 tiebreakers or something.
Okay.
It's not that many, but the tiebreakers that he's lost have been like LC Western LC2 going to Worlds. Like
Right.
it's like really important stuff. So this is like another one of those times where like it's just like, okay, just barely, man. Like, and it's like his story is so sad. So he is a player that I am praying for this weekend to pop off so he can make regionals, because he didn't play Streamer Cup. I don't think he really intended to. I think he's been a lot less involved outside of like co-streaming, that kind of thing. I think he still watches Infinite, but I really, really hope he pops off this weekend.
He looked good too. Week 1, I watched his VODs and he looked great. So he was definitely one of the few. So I think the thing with Ramblin' is that when he cares about the game, he's good at the game, and when he's good at the game, everyone watches his perspective after.
Yeah.
It's like he is such clean, like easy to follow TFT. He plays so smooth, and like I think so. There was a big, at least as a player, I'm not sure how the stats reflect this, but as a player, I felt like there was a shift from day 1 to day 2, and that like there was a lot of Zaya, a lot of Vanguard stuff day 1, and then there was still a lot of that day 2, but there's a lot more like Mordekaiser, like Azir stuff happening day 2 than day 1. And I think a lot of that is everyone went to watch Ramblin's VODs like, wait a second, this guy's a beast at these lines. These lines are good. I can play these lines too. And they all just started jumping on the bandwagon, because I feel like he was so on. At least the day 1 VODs, I haven't watched all the day 2 VODs, but he was so on. And he's a beast.
He's also in that lobby. That lobby.
Oh, that lobby?
Wait,
that
is
lobby.
that lobby?
Wait, you don't know about that lobby?
No, what's that lobby?
Oh, I have to.
Like, you mean the week 1 lobby of like, it was like the strongest people lobby of all time? Yeah.
To be clear, it was like a lobby that if you saw it in regional finals, it'd be like, oh, like there's like maybe a couple people that I'm surprised are there, but it's like reasonable. Like, here's the lobby, okay? So a common Quail, box. Those are the 2 players that are clearly like not at the level of the rest, but like there's still people that have been around the scene for literally ever. And then it is DQA, Pokygom, Ramblin', Ramkev, Ripple Overdrive, Stellar Mini. That was our lobby in day 2.
Yeah.
And to be clear, 6 of those players in that lobby made it to day 3 anyway, because it's like that good of a lobby.
That's so good.
So crazy. And you know what? On that note, I did want to just quickly shout out, because I didn't do this before, all of the Tri-State players who competed in Noxus Cup and then made it to the second weekend, either going from the first weekend or getting in from snapshots. Milk is Tri-State. He just doesn't show up to any Tri-State stuff. But he's essentially less Tri-State than Appies is at this point in time. But Milk, Phillip, Replay, Cottontail, Lil Top, Pokygum, and Tay making second weekend. Tay
as well.
Tay, one of those players that's been around for quite a while, has competed in these Riot sanctioned events for a while, but I don't know that I've ever seen them make second weekend before. It's possible that they have. I've absolutely seen them play first weekend a few times, but very, very cool to see Tay making it second weekend. Really hope to see some of these Tri-State players, make it even further.
It's gonna be so fun. It's gonna be such a fun tournament. So that whether you're watching or playing or casting or hosting or whatever, it's gonna be such a fun tournament. I'm so pumped.
This first weekend, I was going over this with Ori. If you don't know, Orophilia works with us a lot at Wisdom on the admin side. Anyway, we were talking about it on day 2. Day 1, if you made a list of like, these are like the big name players from day 1, the names that you'd like, if you see them at mid-site, you're not surprised at all. If you see them in regional finals, you're not surprised at all. If you made a list of all those players on day 1, which was a big list, by the way, if you made a list of all those players, almost all of them advanced. There are a few. There's like 4 or 5 that didn't, but like of a list of like 15 to 20. And I think day 2 was similar. The players that like we've come to know and like respect as like the top of NA that played in week 1, the vast majority got through for the 25% cut, which is gonna make this weekend really, really cool. Along with the players that Gangly has mentioned that are being new, but I think the biggest part of it is what Gangly mentioned alongside that, which is it's these players returning. Another one that you didn't mention was Ramkev.
Yep.
Yep. Yeah.
I did. By the way, I did put Ramkev on my "Don't Talk If You Don't Know" ballot. I'm very curious to see who else does, or if anyone else does. But I slid him right in number 15 in my ballot.
I did not include him, so
I'm in my first study group, and it's Kevin. It's me, Kevin, Alex M, and Dax.
That's crazy.
Wow.
That's a spicy study group.
It's good stuff.
Do you guys like?
Yeah.
I feel like that sounds like a study group that would like easily derail each other, though. Like,
like every now and then, Dax will just be like, fuck no, what are you talking about? I'm like, no, what are you talking about?
I don't talk to them much anymore, but I like those guys. They're awesome.
I also wanted to call out that on top of all the talent, and included in all the talent that we see in the first weekend of the Noxus Cup, I want to give a quick shout out to BoxBox and Disguised Toast.
Yes.
So Disguised Toast, this is the first time in a while. Actually, has he ever competed in one of the Riot events?
An official event? No. Well, a Riot event, yes. The invitationals, but no, not the official.
Right. Okay. BoxBox has before, though, I believe. Right. I think he competed in set 7.
BoxBox has before, and he also he signs up for all of them. He tries to make it to them. He just usually doesn't make the snapshot.
Okay. Yeah. So really, really cool to see both Disguised Toast and BoxBox competing. And the fact that BoxBox made the second weekend, very, very cool stuff. Obviously, it's going to bring way more eyes on competitive TFT when we have influencers, getting more involved. And with Disguised Toast then going on to run DSC Trials, it's obviously very fitting to see him compete and then announce that right after. So awesome. Awesome stuff to see that. And it does kind of mimic the kind of influencer esports that we're kind of seeing going on in this space right now, right? Like you see Disguised in League of Legends, you have Moist and Ludwig's, whatever Moist and Ludwig's.
Moist Moguls.
Actually,
Moist Moguls is dead. It's dead. It's
interesting.
MXS now. Moist Shopify.
Oh, interesting. So is Ludwig not in it anymore?
It's still Ludwig. He just dropped the Moguls because Moist Moguls Shopify did not work.
I see.
As a name.
Gotcha.
They still have Mogi. The mascot still exists. So that's Ludwig's part of it. But it's Ludwig's.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of this influencer-led esports going on in the space right now, and so it's cool to see it making its way into TFT. Kind of, a different way where it's the influencers are also just really good at the game because that's what TFT is. Our top streamers are top streamers because they are literally the best in the world. Whereas in other games, it's usually, they're good, but they're streamers first. In TFT, all our pro players are streamers so that they can try and make a living while playing TFT professionally. So it's a really fun dynamic to see that in Noxus Cup. Very excited to see how BoxBox turns out this weekend. Now, Natures, you talked about qualifier points on Twitter. I know this is a huge thing for all of these players. Everyone's competing for a spot at the regional finals. You said you had done some simulations.
Yeah, so before I get to that, I got a DM from someone a big player that I'm a huge fan of, person I watch all the time, and
I didn't DM you.
Wait, this is hilarious. I'm talking about Appies. Appies DM'd me about qualifier points. About what he thinks he needed to do, and he's like, "You were saying you need day 4, right? That's what you thought."
I need top 20, right? Is what I figured out.
So we were talking, and Appies was like, "I need, I think I need day 4," and I'm like, for what it's worth, I didn't know what this. This was before the weekend. I didn't done similars or anything, but what we did have is knowledge of last set, which had the exact same qualifier point system, and I'm like,
yeah,
it was 95 last set. To get 95 again, I think you needed top 8. I believe is what we had talked about, right?
I looked at the numbers, and top 20 puts me at 98 right now.
Oh, top 20. Okay.
Yeah,
So it's you need to do a little bit better than just
crazy.
Than just day 4. And the reason,
high. Why is it so high this time though? It's I guess it's high last time too, but
it's not that much higher than it was last set. But the thing is, Appies had one really good one and one not. Right.
Yeah.
But
my Lee Sin reroll.
Regionals is regionals 24 players or 32?
24.
Okay,
so,
that's why. Why.
So anyway, how the sims are playing out, and we took into account the players that have qualified from leaderboard. Even though these teams happened before, it didn't matter whether it was going to be Casper or Milk or Setsugo. It doesn't really matter. So the sims are staying the same regardless of those results. Which, by the way, It was Casper and Setsugo are now qualified to regionals as of today. Anyways, so the simulations say that the range that is expected is somewhere between 91 and 100 qualifier points to make it, which to most isn't going to mean anything. The expected value is like 96 and a half. Like the most, like the number, the average everything, median everything, like 96 and a half. And that's going to mean different things to different people. The storyline to me that is the most fun by a large margin is Mr. DQA, who did not have a great tournament, but one thing,
right?
Yes, he got day 2.
Okay.
One thing that we did to the qualifier points back in set 8, before set 8, was we added more breakpoints in the early days. Effectively, we made it so that the difference between getting 160th and getting 65th was significantly increased. And the reason for this is like there already were breakpoints, but they didn't seem like they were enough to really like show like that's 100 players almost. So there's a pretty big gap there. And what ended up happening is DQA has 98 points. DQA's chance to make it at this point, if you assume everyone's equal skill, which is what the Sims assume equal skill, I can't take into account skill, is DQA is like 85 to 90% chance to make it. If DQA dropped one singular placement on day 2, he'd drop down to about 50% because of these gaps.
Way.
So even though he didn't make it, if he was playing for every single placement, he was try-harding while he knew he was limited, whatever, good shit, because you just like way increase your chances to make regionals. Like it's so important if you're on the cusp.
49th place is the break point, I imagine, right? That's how that works then? Wait,
yeah.
Actually, I think I'm thinking of it how it would work in a Smash tournament. I think it would not be the same with TFT because it's
49th technically will be this weekend, right?
Sorry, I meant 49th on day 2, so it would be whatever that would be.
It's every 8 placements.
Yeah.
So is how it works right now.
So because he got 47th, if he had one fewer point,
he would have dropped down to 49th.
Yeah, yes, and then he would.
He lost. I did the calculation. He lost a tiebreaker, and
crazy. That's wild.
Nuts.
Yeah. Hey, well, good stuff, DQA, for locking it in at a.
Locking it in. He's not locked in yet.
Yeah. Another thing I wanted to talk about. Well, I guess I wrote it here that Appies is one of the players on the edge. So we are obviously very aware of the fact that Appies is going to be looking for a day 4 placement like everybody else.
Yeah, I think I need like the top 20 would actually be 97 points, so I might need like top 12. 12 is the next break point, right? Or is it 16, 24?
16 is definitely 16 is a big break point because it cuts. It's a cut, right?
Oh, okay. So if I like got to this second final lobby, then I'm just gonna win it, but.
Right.
Surely.
I mean, you don't even need to qualify points because you're getting top 4 either way.
Yeah, of course. But yeah, no, I think I'm like top 20, top 16 or whatever. I have 56 or something right now. Because I think it's like 40. Is not
reliable. 1 sec.
56.
I looked at like 41 points for top 20, right?
It's you're at 56 right now.
So you are right. 17 to 20 is 41. So what you really want is 16th.
16th. Okay.
That if you get 16th, like it's like
super in.
99% probably.
Okay. Cool.
Another thing I wanted to bring up is what I did was obviously I track all the player stats, and I went ahead and I collected the top 10 players with the highest AVP. Keep in mind, all of this is set 9. This is a mid set. There is crossover, but the sets play differently for sure. But I wanted to list out the top 10 players with the best AVP. Some of these players do have fewer games than others. I'll just say a little asterisk after it if they have fewer than 20 games played. But it is interesting to think about. I want to get everyone's responses to it. So, Setsuko, Kuramex, Wajan Iverson, Appies, Appies asterisk, Dish Soap, Stellar Minhee asterisk, Philip, asterisk, Robin, Casper, and Soju round out the top 10.
Asterisks are they played in week ones?
Asterisks means they have
Asterisks
fewer than
every
20
week
games
one.
played on the second weekend. So
Okay.
they probably played weekend 1 and then did not
Yeah,
advance,
yeah.
or they didn't
Yeah.
play in the tournament. The ones that stand out to me personally are the two players at the bottom there, Casper and Soju, being top 10 in AVP going into this tournament. Casper especially. I mean, Casper is one of those players that has competed a lot, had a lot of decent performances, but this is the first set I can think of that Casper has actually performed. I think he top 8'd Shurima Cup or something like that.
Yes, he did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that was.
That's
that was
I'm
points.
pretty sure that's the first top 8 Casper's ever had in TFT.
Yeah, I think so.
That's
so-
crazy.
Yeah, so to see
Actually,
him top
that's
10 in AVP going into this tournament, really, really surprising. Casper is obviously one of those players that, like, at the beginning of every set is just like rank 1 in the beginning. He like has more games than anybody else, is able to adapt really quickly, gain tons of LP, but then when tournament time comes, like I personally never, like I often kept Casper off my ballots entirely, even when a lot of people did, because he just never really performed in tournament. So it's awesome to see him, prove all the haters wrong, myself included in that. Like, I definitely did not give Casper enough credit, and here he is sitting top 10 going into the final, official event before regional finals.
Yeah, I've been struggling when I do my rankings about Casper. I still am. So he got third at Shurima. He did very, very well. And I did end up ranking him. Not super high, but I did end up ranking him because of the fact that he didn't just fall off on ladder, which is typically what happens. I wasn't going to attribute everything to one tournament. I don't think the one tournament's enough. But the fact that trend, the fact that he has skyrocketed on ladder at the start of the set and then fallen off, that trend stopped, I think is a bigger indicator to me. On top of the Shurima Cup thing. So I'm super interested in him as well. Soju, I actually think it's a mindset thing. I think he realized the cups actually kind of matter. Because he missed regionals last set.
Yeah.
So now he's trying. I think that's all it is. So Soju, when he's trying, is one of the best players NA has to offer. So like,
What does Soju need to get to regionals this set, to placement wise?
pretty much doesn't. He has
I
103
imagine he's set.
guaranteed.
Oh, okay, so he's chilling. Okay, good,
There's
good.
like one scenario where 64th he won't make it. It's like, yeah.
Huh, okay. Yeah, because Soju at any event is very important for TFT. It's very, very
Oh,
important.
seriously. No, it's very true. You're saying, like, in terms of, like, viewership and things, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
The like him being in an event makes it just
Dude,
good for
That
TFT.
6.5 Challenger Series was so fun with Soju. It was so fun.
The Soju New Battle one, that's insane.
Yeah, that was,
That
was-
one of
that
my
was an
one of the most
insane
fun
tournament.
events I feel like to watch.
That's the kind of event that one day I want
Scripted.
to go back and, like, make a video essay on that tournament, because it actually did feel for the first time that, like, the two players that everybody expected to win won. Like, we never see that in TFT.
Yeah, and the exact like just 1-2. Like if you ask anyone, they're telling you New Battle 1, Soju 2. Anyone,
Mhm.
New Battle 1, Soju 2.
Yeah. So
That's crazy. That was such a cool tournament to watch.
Yeah.
Sully, did you have? I'm curious because obviously you've played with both Soju and Casper for so long, and those are the two players I'm mentioning. I think that the asterisk players of you, Stellar Minhee, and Philip are also really interesting. Obviously a part of that is like you each had one
played, like,
really
every
good
day
tournament.
one.
Yeah,
As well.
yeah.
Yeah,
But-
as far
yeah.
as like
Go for it.
Casper and Soju go, I'm really glad Casper's popping off. I feel like the Shurima Cup patch was so good for him, which I'm happy about. That like there was a patch that really suited him, because it was like a very Casper's like a degen tech peddler. Like he's got the sauce, you
Tech
know.
peddler.
And that was a patch where like the degen tech peddler shit really paid off. So he did super well, and he's been doing well in general. I thought he had I actually didn't even realize he was playing this second. I thought he had taken a break or something a little bit ago, and I didn't realize he was back in action.
He
But
did take a break and then he didn't. Yeah.
yeah, I thought I made the break happen, but I'm glad he's doing well. I mean, he's a beast, and it's always nice to see him do well. Soju as well. I mean, I like Soju. I like his content. I like what he does for the scene. So I'm glad he's doing well. Also a beast.
I feel like every time I talk about Soju on broadcast, people always talk about, or maybe not even on broadcast, people talk about Soju and like the first or eighth player on ladder versus like the not first or eighth, like only middle placement player that we see in tournament. And I this is just such an interesting point of discussion because I know I've talked about this on the show before. I love putting players in boxes and like being able to say like this player likes to play this kind of style, this player doesn't. And something I just wanted to like talk about for a minute is that I have a list of like the on my ranking sheet. I can sort players by like lowest first or eighth rate to highest. And so I wanted to call out and just read like the lowest, maybe like 5 or 6 lowest first or eighth rates that we have in North America. I'm curious to see if it's surprising to you all at all. So Darth Nub is the least first or eighth player across 30 games too, like a pretty reasonable sample size at 10%. Then second jumps from 10 to 14% with Lil Top and Goobums are tied. Then Kurum, Exniamo, and Deepay all tied. Well, Exniamo's, that's a fake number. Deepay's is basically a fake number as well. Then Appies, which is actually not a low sample size. You have quite a high sample size. There's 54 games. You have an 18.5% first or eighth rate, which I guess the median should be 25, right? Because it should be 12.5% for each placement. So Appies at 18%, and then Replay, K3 Soju, Ashmu, and Pocky, and then Tleeds right under or T. I know he said how to say T-Lides right after Pocky. After that, it kind of gets like really, really close to that 25%. But the ones that are really interesting to me, one, I think like Goobums, Soju, Appies, Replay all make a lot of sense to me to see them as like the lowest.
I'm surprised Soju isn't lower actually. I feel like he's so safe. He plays so safe in tournament.
I actually think the only one that did kind of surprise was Replay.
Oh, interesting.
I feel like Replay does quite a bit that is trying to win nowadays. That's I feel like streaming has changed him.
You got a content fiend.
It's possible.
The content changed him.
For what it's worth. Oh, by the way, Replay is someone that I give a lot of shit to right now, in a joking way. But I also might be the person that rates Replay like the highest of anyone in D2IDK.
Oh, really? Because you didn't rate him number 1 at the end of set 8.
I literally said at the end of set 8, if I was doing predictive rankings, I would rate him number 1 for set 9, and you said that you would not.
That's
so,
I've been called out.
I rate him incredibly highly. I do think Freljord was a fluke. So, and the other tournaments he's done great in. So,
yeah, I think the reason it didn't surprise me, after he won the World Championship and moved to New York, we did like a tri-state dinner kind of thing, and he specifically told me how much he loves playing for middle placements. So once he said that, it kind of like checked the box in my head, and now I'm like, okay, well, he'll never go first or eighth ever again. He's just a middle placement player.
He was playing Fiora at that time. He was playing Fiora.
Fiora is the most first or eighth.
Yeah. That's what his placements were. Go to his stream when he was playing Fiora, and it was 1s and 8s. So
that's crazy. Sully, do you think that you've come in first more often or eighth more often?
I'm sure it's eighth because Shrima Cup.
No, it's not. You actually like
really?
More than double your firsts over your eighths.
Really, I feel like I lost a lot in Shrima Cup. Like I lost that tournament, dude. I decided to play Lee Sin last second and just reroll random stuff I'd never played before. That was a bad idea. Bad idea.
Even with Shurima, you're still 6th in lowest eighth place rate.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's surprising.
You pretty much never go
good,
eighth.
I guess.
Yeah, you pretty much never go eighth.
Yeah, I never.
You just don't win. That's the thing. You just don't win games in tournament.
You know what's funny though? I think about it. I actually win all the games I need to win in tournament. Like, I feel like I have like this big streak of if I need to go first, so like Innovation Cup, the LCQ in set 7, like the snapshot to get into Noxus Cup, when I for some reason when I need to
we
win a
didn't talk
game,
about
I
that
just
for sure.
win. It was I can talk about it if you
Yeah,
guys want.
you should. Go for it.
My Noxus Cup journey has been like a full ass anime arc, dude. It's I was like kind of burnt out the week before the snapshot, and like I had TC4 to go to that weekend, and like I had gone into the boxing the weekend before because I just like ran it down like 300 LP night before a snapshot. I thought I would like couldn't miss basically. So I was like tilted all week, just like playing 18 hours of TFT, super burnt out. TC4 happens. I'm like trying to like debating if I want to grind for snapshots in the Airbnb on my phone, like the or go to bed.
Wait,
And so
it was
I
on your
ended up,
phone you were playing? You were playing mobile?
I was gonna. I didn't actually end up playing. I was gonna. I think use that or use Nick's computer if but so basically I get back home from TC4 and I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna grind, try to, because I was like, I was maybe I wanted to grind up top 24 or not, or top 28 or not. And I was like, yeah, I'll just play a few games and I'll just like feel it out. And so I played a couple games and I was winning and I was like, okay, I'll play a couple more. And then I like lost a bunch and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna sit. And then I played one more game for fun and I went like 7th or 8th. I was like, okay, I'm just gonna go to bed for a little, because I was like super exhausted. So I was like, I'm gonna go to bed for a bit. And then I wake up like I don't know, 4 hours later, and the snapshot like jumped. And I don't mean the snapshot for top 28 because that jumped too. I mean the snapshot to get in the fucking tournament jumped. And I was like, wait a second.
This guy was
I
trying
had
to
lost,
assure me.
I
He's
had
like
lost
top
a lot.
28 for sure. Or top 24 for sure.
And I had like lost a lot of LP, and I was like, there's no way I'm not in. I'm fine. And so I like watch it. I'm like, it's fine. And then like midnight comes around. I'm like, okay, I need to play. And but during all this, learning TFT, the guy I coach, he was like talking about how like he was mentioning Discord, like snapshot. I think I'm pretty good for snapshot now. I'm like chilling. I was like, yeah, me too, man. Huh? Like I'm doing fine. And so I play at midnight. And I go like 7-8. And I'm like, oh god. Like this is how it ends. Like I was like I broke out like the scratch pad, started writing my TFT retirement speech. Like but I planned to go work at like Shaw's, my local grocery store chain. And I'm like, okay. And so I have time for 2 more games at this point. It's 1:30. Sorry, this is a little long-winded, but it's a good story. It's 1:30. I'm like, okay, I have 2 more games. I need about 100 LP to get through, and I'm like, I'm in a point right at this point like where like my MMR is such that I'm just getting a ton of LP for some reason. So I'm like, okay, I need to either go 1-1 or 1-2, and so I load it up. I have like a great early game. I roll down on 7, hit nothing, absolute bollocks, and I'm like, oh, I'm done. It's over. I'm done. I'm super tilted. The guy in first who had less gold than me at this point, before we both rolled, hit everything. I'm like, it's due. And then somehow I just pull a second out of my ass. Like from nowhere. I get godlike matchmaking, hit a couple things, positioned well a couple times. I'm like, oh, I top 2'd. And I'm like, I still playing on enough. Then I got like 45 LP. I was like, oh shit, wait, maybe it is enough. And then I'm like, okay, it's like 2:20. I'm like, okay, I have time for 1 more game. I need to go first, or I'm doomed. Like it's not going to be enough. And so I take risky moves that makes you lose 20 HP to get 30 gold or something later on in the game, and I lose streak with it. So
Oh shoot!
I play risky moves, lose streak into like hard force Fiora rolling at 3-5. I go to like 20 HP and I just fucking win out. I just win out. I actually lost I lost the second to last fight. To the guy who went third, because it was me and another challenger player and like a 7 Noxus guy, vertical Noxus guy, and that guy lost to the other challenger player. Then I lost a really close, I lost a really close fight to the Noxus guy, and then I beat the other challenger player, and it was like 3 a.m. at this point for me. It was actually, I can tell you exactly what it was. It was 2:59 a.m. when I got out of this game. 2 minutes before the snapshot, I pop off at 3 a.m. and I stay up for another 2 hours because I'm too chock full of adrenaline. And I go to bed with my eyes wide open, like holy shit.
You were
holy shit.
159th, right?
Yeah, I was 3 LP over the cutoff.
So, because from my POV of this was Appy's telling me he's definitely gonna make top 24. He was like top 50 at the time he said this, and then slowly but surely his name on the leaderboard just goes down and down and down.
I remember talking about the Freljord Cup snapshot before this, where I did the same thing.
Dude.
But this time I had to go like top 2 in one game, and I was like destroyed mentally from that. But this time I had to go top 2 twice.
So I also had a vantage point from this story. So I got a message on Discord from Appies at, let's see, where was it?
Played for you.
At 3:13 p.m. on Sunday, he goes, "All right, code red, all caps, low rolling hard, just gonna sit." So and then no more caps. He's calm. Just gonna sit so I don't actually run it down and miss weekend 1. Keck. Then I wake up to like 13 messages and I look and it's all caps. Okay, had to play some of the most unluckiest games imaginable. But if I go first, this last game, I'm fine. I might be pulling a Kevin, somehow turn one of the most low-rolling, worst roll-downs of all time into a second to stay alive. I just hit risky moves. Probably the best. I'm not responding, by the way. He's just talking. He's just commentating.
I need to dump.
Probably the best first or 8th augment of the game. Hit Fiora 2 with Challenger Spat on 4-1. I hit Aatrox on 7. I won. It might be enough. and then 40 minutes later, it was enough.
Nice.
So I got to wake up to that story.
And then I was like down to last game. Then like the first weekend of as well, I went 666 day 2 and had to pull out some. It was I had to like start playing real TFT instead of playing Caitlyn TFT, and it was risky. They came down to the last game as well. So I've had a very stressful couple of weeks.
Yeah.
TFT.
You just
But
can't
it's made
make
me
it
a lot
easy for
stronger.
yourself.
I'll tell you what, I am forged in fire. I am like a fucking Damascus steel blade right now. I feel good. I feel really good. Better than I felt about it in a while, I feel like.
You feel like you're in good form right now?
I feel like not only am I in good form like playing wise, I am in really good form mentally, which is
I rank
rare
you, Appies.
for me. Thank you.
I ranked you, but I always rank you. It means nothing.
I think I'm really good. I mean, I'm gonna say I can go like 64, but I think I'm in really good form right now. So I'm happy about where I am.
By the way, I think there's one other player that we didn't talk about that we quickly need to.
Sure.
Because it's another player that didn't play in the first 2 cups. It is the reigning NA champion. Jukyu's back this week.
Jukyu made it to second
You
weekend?
played the first 2 cups?
Jukyu auto-qualified. To be clear, Jukyu's like top 10 on ladder.
Wait,
Damn.
really?
Yeah. Gangley didn't rank Jukyu. Didn't even look at it. Didn't even look at the long test. Didn't even look at the leaderboard.
No, wait, I had no idea.
Yes. No. Jukyu.
Wait,
Jukyu talked
are you
about
sure?
this. What?
Are you sure?
I hope so, because
The
it'd be really
double
awkward if we invited Jukyu to the tournament and not qualified.
Huh.
That's awesome.
Jukyu currently on ladder, I'm looking right now, is 17, lost a little bit. Rank 17 on ladder. But was when I was doing my DTY DK rankings was rank 7. So Jukyu is this is the first tournament Jukyu's played since NA Regionals where they got like a 2.7 AVP. And to be clear, did well in pretty much not every, but pretty much every yeah, true, that's a good point. But pretty much every event in set 8. And also we don't know how he would have done in mid-set finale because cruise Wi-Fi. So I personally believe that Jukyu is one of the not I won't say one of the strong, but I put Jukyu top 10, like at 10th or something. Like I think Jukyu is.
He did compete in set 9 though. He got day 1 and day 2'd.
So am I being dumb?
He entered both, and he just.
Oh no, you are.
Because
right.
I have him as
right,
18 games played, but 0.
I just
games
totally
final
misremembered.
weekend.
I totally misremembered then. Oh, that's awkward.
But the
how
point still
tables
stands.
turn?
The point still stands that because he was not high on
Yeah,
ladder.
you're 100% right.
He was not high on ladder in any in set 9 at all because he did not make it to second weekend in either tournament. So the point still stands that like this is not the this is what we're seeing right now is not the Jukyu, at least that it seems that we saw in set 9.
So yeah. Yes.
Oh no.
Regardless of that, I totally did not realize. Yeah, I got 66 then 120 something. Regardless of that, Jukyu being top 10 on ladder in solo queue isn't common at all.
No,
at all. He's a double up player.
Right.
And in fact, every time you go to Jukyu's stream in set 9.0, he was playing double up. He was never playing. He was never playing solo queue.
Was he partnered with Piba, or was that someone else's part of Piba?
Partnered with Piba a long time ago, but not in the last couple sets. Recently. Like during like the Hextech Havoc times, yes. Gotcha. But yes. So Jukyu right now, I have full faith in. Honestly, regardless of that, but I probably wouldn't have ranked him that high if I realized that they had gotten week 1 both times. At least one of them was very barely 65th.
Everyone has performance issues occasionally. Week 1,
yeah,
week 1's fine.
And I think very clearly just wasn't focused, right? I think very clearly just wasn't focused on actually trying to compete. And said to me at TC4 that was very, very dedicated to Noxus Cup and very confident of Noxus Cup. So I also took that and ran with it.
I'm down for him to pop off. I like Jukyu.
Yeah, he's a really nice guy.
Yeah.
He's a cool guy.
And I formally apologize because I did not list Jukyu in my list of tri-state players that are playing in Noxus Cup. So
Jukyu's tri-state?
Yeah, he's from New York City, yeah.
New York, yeah.
Yeah. So New York is, I like say tri-state, it's literally all New York. Of all the players that I mentioned, I said Milk, Phillip, replayed Cottontail, Lil Top, Pokygom, Tay, and then Jukyu. The only person that's not New York is Tay, and he's from Pennsylvania. Oh, Lil Top's New Jersey, but he doesn't even live here anymore. He lives in Seattle. So it's kind of fraudulent. New York is literally, like, might actually just be the strongest state in all of North America. Or California, I imagine, is probably pretty good, too. You know, and Appies, I know you have to go very soon, but something I wanted to talk about, I'm trying to think if this is going to derail the conversation too much, but I want to find out what other regional lands are happening in North America, because I think it'd be really cool to do like a content series where someone goes to all of the different regional lands and like interviews the hidden talent, like the hidden bosses
of the world.
Like here's the thing. I know I've talked about this specific thing before on the podcast that like we knew Bosso Skills was good before Bosso Skills was top 15 ranked because he came to the TC events. He like we all knew he was like a challenger player from New York City or that was living in New York. And I want to know what, and same thing with Tay, like now competing in the second weekend of Noxus Cup. I want to go to other regions and actually meet the other players who are like on the up and up and really getting into TFT and want to start grinding to start to learn who these players are before they actually make it in this breakout tournament. I think it'd be really cool. I don't know how many other regional events there are.
Not enough, probably.
Yeah,
calculated loss.
I don't know of many. Yeah, there was one for a while in Arizona, but I haven't heard from them in a while, so I don't think that they still do. But it's possible.
I've heard tales of like a Texas one too.
Yeah, that might be true. But right now I'm not aware of that many. I know people that want to do more. So
what I would say is if you're listening to this podcast right now and you host a TFT LAN in your region, shoot me a DM on Twitter. I want to hear about it. And if you're interested and just want to know a little bit more about how to do it, I'm definitely not the best TO in the world, but I've done this before and we've run 4 TC events technically. So if you have any questions,
Technically.
So if you have
I think you say 5, but
that's true. Technically, we have 5, right? So if you have any questions about starting your own LAN and you want to do in your region, reach out because I'd love to offer any help I can. I think it would be awesome to see more regional talent. And we talked before TC4 about doing this top 4 of TC4 versus top 4 of calculated loss. And that would be so sick. Our top
That'd be
four.
hype.
So our top four would be Bobster, Joe Bookmark, Clear, and Appies. Right? That was top four.
Good lineup.
That's pretty stacked.
Pretty good lineup. Yeah.
I don't know what calculated losses would be. Well, let me look that up actually real quick. Calculated loss TFT. Good, they have a Wikipedia. It would be versus Vanilla, Cambly, Headpat, and Ducky Jr. I don't know who Ducky Jr. is, but Headpat is Lab 11 Headpat. Actually, I think they were in one of my games.
Headpat's good.
Headpat's playing this weekend.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah,
They were not in one of my
Headpat,
games.
They just did they just auto week 2 or did they?
I don't
they play week 1?
remember actually. I feel like they played week 1, but I don't remember. I mean, I also could just be wrong because I haven't done my actual player analysis until tonight, but I'm pretty sure they're playing this weekend. Let me make sure.
Sims says in chat that they did play week 1.
Okay, that was what I thought. Okay.
Yeah. So you know what? Actually, that would be really fun. I mean, no flame. I feel like TC would clear.
I think TC's is quite a bit stronger. To be honest.
I think we would clear calculated loss. But you know what, Boises Lawrence, if you're in the chat right now, just know I'm willing to throw down the gauntlet. Not any money, obviously. I'm not gonna put any money on the line, but I'm gonna throw down the gauntlet anyway. But I think it'd be really fun to do some sort of like East Coast versus West Coast event. And I've always said this where it's like it would be so cool if
Show
it was,
match.
yeah, like a show match, but the casters are like super biased and just like flaming the other region's players the entire time. I think it'd be really, really cool to do that.
We don't have very many East Coast. Oh, we have. I guess most of the TC forecasters are East Coast, right?
Yeah, Protroid is East Coast. Jirachi's East Coast. CLE's Midwest. He's Cleveland.
Oh, he told me that in.
That's what
I
CLE
that.
actually is Cleveland. It stands.
Oh wait,
That
really?
I didn't know. I knew
Wait,
he was
what the
from
heck?
Ohio, but I had no idea CLE was Cleveland.
Yeah. But his tag is literally just the city that he lives in. But yeah, so we don't have that many, but we have Riley, Protroid, and then like Invective stuff like that. But anyway, I know we're over time. Appies, I know you got to get going, so we'll.
I mean, if you guys want to keep going, I have no.
I think it's probably. I actually have to head to a meeting in like 10 minutes anyway, so I think it's a good time to just wrap everything up. So, before we go, I do just want to open up the floor for you each to say something. Appies, you want to go first? Anything you want to say or shout out?
A shout out to the TC4 staff that made it such a fun event. It was a trying time, but it cleaned out really well, I think. So it was enjoyable, very, very enjoyable. Heck yeah.
I don't. Last time I did a thing with you, Gangly, I gave like 75 shoutouts. I don't have too much to shout out here. I will say, shout out to the community as a whole for the reception to the DSG event because it's been awesome. It seems like. I think this is what you want. I think you want the community to respond like way overboard because it makes other people more interested, right? So. Shout out for that, and shout out to DSG for doing it as a whole. Toast and his team, who have been great to work with. So,
all right. Well, let me think. Is there anything I want to shout out? I do just want to again thank everybody for your support of TC4. Obviously, we had our issues, but the community rallying together to still make the event so fun, and all the support I received online too. I had a lot of people who just sent me a DM and said, hey, I'm sorry it didn't work out, but the event still seemed like a lot of fun. Love what you do in the scene, and it was really, really awesome. So, yeah, thank you everyone who just reached out and still supported the event anyway. A couple quick things I want to shout out. Again, Noxus Cup coming up this weekend. Make sure you can tune into the official broadcast, the Teamfight Tactics on Twitch. Appy's going to be competing there. You can watch his POV on his Twitch channel, SPICYAPPIES. LCQ comes up the week after that. DSG's immediately after LCQ. Regional finals coming up at the end of October. It's going to be a really fat month of TFT. So if you've gotten it, it's getting scratched. Awesome. I promise you that much. So thank you everyone for watching High Roll Radio episode number 16. I know it was a different time, but thank you everyone who came in to watch live.
My bad.
No, you're good. Make sure to follow us on the podcast app or wherever you get your podcast. Subscribe on YouTube. And if you're on YouTube right now, like and comment really does go a long way in helping us with the algorithm. But thank you everybody for watching High Roll Radio. We'll catch you next time.